Welcome back. This is Mr. York. Thanks so much for joining me once again. This is part 3 in this series. This video is about how to start editing. Before I even get to that, I'd like to go back and just show you how to rename stuff real quick. One of the things I've found is that students have a hard time with that one, or don't know how to do it, or have never done it. In Apple, it's a little bit different than Windows, just for the fact that everything in Apple works slightly different. So just so you understand how to do it, here's one of the videos that I just made. Here's the first one, there's the second one. If I want to add numbers to these just so I can keep track of which one I did first or second, all I have to do is go back here now and right click on it, go to rename, and you'll notice it doesn't look like anything happened. If I click, it gives me that horrible noise that says, hey, I don't know what you want to do. If I click on it once, it turns blue, and I can actually put my I-bar or my insertion point in there and then actually type in whatever I want. Let's put it at the beginning of it, and I'll make this number 1, how to save. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the next one, which was how to import, and that time I didn't have to click on it. I find that Mac is super inconsistent. Either that or I just don't know what I'm doing enough. One of the two. So that's how to rename real quick. Let's go back. If you hold down Shift and try to open up a file or a program that's already open, it does it super slow. I have no idea why this has been programmed in here. A lot of Mac users don't even know that one. Somebody told me that a long time ago. Still cracks me up. Alright, so where we left off last time was that we had imported all of our footage for Project Lead the Way. This is my Project Lead the Way from the fall. This is the library. We retitled the event, even though you really don't need to. You can. I just wanted to show you those options are there. This is my project. It's just called Project Lead the Way Footage. If I decide I don't like that and I want to rename it, I simply click on it. And my clicking is working really well right now. I'm just clicking on it one time, but you may have to do an Apple click, which is click, wait, click, or click, click, wait, and then click again. I feel like when we use our mice, it's a little more complicated for some reason, but that might be partly because we're not using Apple mice. We're just using Windows mice, and I think that might be part of the issue. I'm using a MacBook Pro to do this, and the touchpad is working pretty well, it seems. So if I want to redo this as Project Lead the Way Fall or anything else, I can rename that and give me a better idea about what it is I'm trying to do, or what this footage is of if I want to be more specific. I think in this case we were actually doing a final project, so I'm going to go back here and do secret, because I believe that was the project we were doing, and that'll help me understand later how to do what that is. Some basics as we go through editing. This is basics number 1. First step, you can go away, is to make sure you understand how to get through the timeline and rearrange things. So let's go up to the top. We're going to start with the buttons up here and work our way around, and by the end of this video hopefully you'll have a better idea of what all the buttons are, and then come back to the next one, which will be video 4 in this series, for more specifics on how actually to implement and use all of these buttons. I'm just going to kind of go through an orientation. We've already been through the clapboard up at the top with the star in it. That actually shows your library sidebar, and I've shown already how you can click and get that to appear and disappear as you need it. Next to that is actually all of our sound effects, and any music you might have that you either made in GarageBand or in iTunes. In iTunes I actually have some stuff in mine. I have quite a few things in my folder for some strange reason. So Led Zeppelin, Warner Drive. If you get a chance, check out Warner Drive. They're an awesome band. And then of course sound effects. And under sound effects we've got all kinds of different things, from really simple things. I don't know why I would need a soccer kick, but you never know. Ooh, a walrus roar. I can't even say that. Is that really what a walrus sounds like? If you say so. If you want music, you can come in here, and we find that if you type in long, that'll automatically give you the long version of just about any little jingle that they have. They often have short, medium, and long versions of their jingles, and you can use these for anything you want. Some might sound familiar, as you might have heard them in various commercials and things. This is all free music, so anybody can use it. Completely royalty free. We use them for a lot of our stuff through school, and a lot of our videos that we make that we know are going to go online. We won't have any type of issues with it. Nobody can make a claim against us for using this music. It's all free through Final Cut Pro. The last tab there, up in these three in the corner, is titles, and under titles there are generators, which are basically backgrounds. Any type of background title card that you want to put behind your title if you don't want your title to go on top of your video. If you want your title on top of your video, it's not a big deal. You can just take your title like this basic 3D and drag it down on top. However, I'm going to delete that just by hitting the delete key. If you want it in front, you can go to a generator first, grab something like clouds, put it in front of your video. It'll bounce everything over. And then you can go back to your titles and put the title on top of that. And I don't know if that'll show up because it's probably white on white. You can kind of see that. I'm going to have a whole nother video on titles. That'll probably be part 6 in this series. Let me delete that real quick. You can also just bring down the title in front, and then it just has a black background. So, little brief deal on titles and what all of these different tabs mean over here real quick. Over here on the right, we've got our butterfly, which means transitions. That's what that is. It's transitioning from one to the two. It's not actually a bow tie or a butterfly. Next to that we have effects. This will change how your video looks, and you would do well to actually go through and explore these a little bit. Sometimes I find there's things that we need. And the next to that is actually how we can rearrange how our project looks. You can decide to see more or less of the actual video part, or more or less of the audio bar down below. It's kind of just whatever you're working on. Plus you can zoom in and zoom out by using this slider, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Command plus or Command minus, or if you're like us and you're using a Windows keyboard, it is Windows plus and Windows minus. If you happen to have a Mac keyboard, you probably spent a lot of money on it. Let me get rid of the effects so that we can see the rest of this. The next one over is our snapping tool, and that's so that things will actually snap to the time markings, which is kind of nice. I usually turn that on. The one next to that is the headphones. You can actually turn off the audio on anything that you have selected, and you can see that it just, as soon as I select it and hit it, it actually turns gray. I can also hit V on my keyboard. I believe that's view so that you don't see that one. If you get tired of hearing some audio, you can just hit that. It'll shut the whole clip down. To the left of that, we have turn audio skinning on or off. I find this completely annoying, so I don't really do it. You can't turn it on until you turn on the video skimming, by the way. Then you can turn it on. So video skimming I find super useful. I'm going to turn off the audio skimming for a second. There's my video skimming. This is what audio skimming sounds like. As you can imagine, this is super annoying, and it serves almost no purpose because I can't hear what's going on anyhow, so I don't feel like that helps me out at all. I'm going to go back to my library. So those are your basic tools around the Final Cut Pro. Just this cluster over here and the cluster up at the top, so that you're kind of familiar with what to do. Please tune into the next video so that you can get an idea about how to use these tools here in the center, and how to implement these to kind of complete this video project. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to go on my website if you're looking for new videos or information, mryork.org. Thank you so much.